Hi friends, I am Salan Jose. Welcome back to Social Science 10th Standard Geography lesson, Resource and Development. Today we are going to discuss about a few topics like development of resources, sustainable development, resource planning in India, and finally conservation of resources. First of all, we have to discuss about development of resources. Development of resources. We all know the importance of resources in our life. Without resources we can't achieve any kind of development what we have already achieved. See here, even today people think resources are free gifts of nature. When they think resources are free gifts of nature, then there is a tendency to exploit it more and more. Because it is free gift of nature, then people indiscriminately using the resources for their needs. See, it is creating huge problems. A lot of major problems are created by indiscriminate use of resources by humans. First of all, we have to discuss about what are the major problems created by indiscriminate use of resources by humans. First of all, look at the screen. First problem: depletion of resources for satisfying the greed of a few individuals. See, when greedy people try to exploit more and more resources, then it affected the quantity of resources which are available in the earth. See, depletion, it caused for depletion. When people exploit more and more resources for satisfying their greed, then it affected the quantity of resources which are seen on our environment. The second problem is accumulation of resources in few hands, which in turn divided the society into two segments, that is haves and have-nots, or rich and poor. See, that is another major problem. Accumulation of resources into few hands. So concentration of resources into few pockets of the people, those who live in different places, then it affected, or it will create a social problem. That is a social problem. That social problem, that is the society was divided into rich and poor, because the people, those who get more resources, they will become rich. At the same time, the people, those who did not get any kind of resources, they will become very poor. The society was divided based on that resource management. Is it clear? The accumulation or concentration of wealth or resources into few people, that is another problem. Then the major third problem, or third set of problems, they are indiscriminate exploitation of resources has led to global ecological crises such as global warming, ozone layer depletion, environmental pollution, and land degradation. See, when human beings indiscriminately exploit the resources, it created problems, or it aggravated the problems of global warming and ecological imbalances, and land degradation, environmental pollution, and such kind of lot of ozone layer depletion is also aggravated or fastened by the indiscriminate use of resources. These are the major problems created by. So here we need an equitable resource management program. Otherwise, it will create some serious problems, not only in a region. It should create some major problems all around the globe. When people running behind resources, it may be affect even the global peace. Maybe in future the countries will fight each other for getting more resources. So equitable resource management or equitable distribution of resources is nowadays have great importance. So on that realm, we have to discuss about a sustainable development, sustainable economic development. You may be heard about a sustainable development in our previous classes. See, what is sustainable development? Now also we have to explore something more about a sustainable development. Economic development means development should take place without damaging the environment, and development in the present should not compromise with needs of the future generations. We should practice development. We should follow development without damaging the environment. Is it clear? And we should consider the future generation while we are running behind resource development or the development. That means whenever we use resources, we keep this thing in our mind. These resources are not only for us, it is for our next generations too. Keep it in mind. See, a lot of people all around the world already started discussing or started think about resource management or sustainable economic development. A lot of efforts they had taken, different nations have taken years before. Here, few such efforts that we have to talk about here, especially the first International Earth Summit of 1992. It was held in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. See, here it addressing the serious problems of ecological imbalance or ecological or environmental pollution, and it is also addressing the economic development of the people. See here, more than 100 states heads met there in Rio de Janeiro, and they declare or they signed a lot of agreements to keep the environment safe. One of the important milestone in that Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit, that was Agenda 21. Agenda 21 is also addressing some serious problems or aim to achieve somewhat sustainable development. See, here it is an agenda to combat environmental damage, poverty, diseases through global cooperation and common interest. Mutual needs and shared responsibilities. These are the objectives of Agenda 21. It is also aimed to match that agenda with local developmental plans or developmental agendas. Next, we have to discuss about resource planning. Planning of resources. It is widely accepted strategy to judicious use of resources. Resource planning, it is very important, especially a country like India must follow a perfect resource planning, because India is a country, we know a lot of diversities we have. See, in the case of resources also, in the case of population, culture and geography, lot of resources, lot of differences we have. Same kind of varieties we can see in the allocation or distribution of resources too. In India, resources are not equally distributed all geographical areas. Some areas may be having lot of resources, at the same time the same kind of resources may be deprived in other areas. Some examples are given in your textbook. You just go through the textbook, you can see. That means that not equitable resource distribution is seen in India. So India have a great importance of planning and resource. Clear? See, in India, resource planning have different steps. What are the different steps we have to follow in resource planning in India? The first step is identification and inventory of resources across the region of the country. This involves surveying, mapping, and quantitative and qualitative estimation and the measurement of resources. First of all, prepare an inventory. Identification and inventory. Inventory means make a list, a schedule of the resources, what are the resources available in different places and how much quantities of resources are seen in different places through different strategies like qualitative and quantitative estimation, and also surveying and mapping is also used for the preparation of inventory. So scheduling or prepare the list of the resources, which allocation of resources. Clear? That is the first step. Then second step is evolving a planning structure endowed with appropriate technology, skill and institutional setup for implementing resources development plans. See, when we try to implement resource development plans, it should work with the institutional setup and skill or development, technological background also we should aware or we should consider while planning resources or while we prepare plans. for resource allocation or resource utilization. Is it clear? Then the third step is matching the resource development plans with the overall national development plans. When we prepare resource plans, resource development plans in local areas, we must prepare that plan. So we must try to match that resource plans, resource development plans which prepared based on local areas must match with the national development or national resource planning. Is it clear? These are the three steps involved to resource planning in India. See, just after independence, that means just after independence, India inaugurated the 5-year plans. In every 5-year plans, it is resource planning is also inculcated in India. And this is why almost all the resources which is available in different places are reached into or distributed equally into the all places. Is it clear? See, then finally resource conservation. Problems we are already addressed. The problems created by the overuse of or non-judicious use of resources. Now we have to discuss about how can we conserve or what are the efforts which are taken by the government and other authorities to conserve resources. See, resource conservation, it is very important because the resources are very scarce. So resource conservation, when we think about a resource conservation, we must use the statement of Mahatma Gandhi. What he said years before related to resource conservation, he said like this: there is enough for everybody's need and not for anybody's greed. That means the resources which are available in our environment, it is enough for our needs, but at the same time it is not enough for nobody's greed. That means if we use that resources in a judicious manner, then we can use that resources for satisfying the needs of the people. Is it clear? Again, Gandhiji advocated another theory. He rejected the theory of mass production and he advocated production by the masses. That means mass production means a huge quantity exploitation. He was against it. That is why he rejected the theory of mass production and he advocated production by the masses. That means common people should involve in production processes. That is the thing. That is the theory which forwarded by Mahatma Gandhi in the realm of resource conservation. See, some other international efforts are also there in your textbook. You just go through the textbook. See here, today we have discussed the 4 topics. First of all, resource development. Second one, sustainable development of economy. And the third is resource planning in India. And finally, conservation of resources. I think today's topics are clear to you. You please subscribe, watch, like and comment. Share this class to your friends too. Okay, thank you.